It's always fun when I get these two guys together. In fact, the podcast continues. Jackson and McCoy. I thought you guys just did football, but you're everywhere. You're doing everything. I mean, we're talking to hoops here.
We're Renaissance
during
man.
the news.
What you expect? We're jacks of all trades.
Well, you're a former football quarterback for The Ohio State University. I thought football was your jam.
You might not know this, but in high school I was a double-double guy.
I did not know that.
And I grew up in New Jersey where they play real basketball. So.
Oh, where they play real basketball.
Well, they used to play real basketball.
Tim Thomas, your
Thomas.
teammate?
Yep.
Tim Thomas was an NBA first-round draft pick, played in the league for a lot of years.
Good stuff.
Played with Stanford.
And you schooled him?
He used to run from me when I was on the floor. He used to run from me.
Okay, well, we'll talk hoops in a minute, but I got to get your take on the national title game. I mean, we still lament that Ohio State's not in it, but Clemson, LSU, what do you think?
I don't know. I hate both these teams. Yeah. Can I say that?
Well, you can say it. I mean, I don't know. Why do you hate LSU?
They put up, I was watching ESPN, and they put a stat up yesterday of showing the last national champions, and it was Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, like that, right?
Yeah.
The reality is it should have been Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State.
Yeah.
And so I hate the fact because the narrative continues with LSU. It's not just LSU per se, but the narrative of the SEC dominance continues with them. I think they have the edge. Offensively, they're explosive. They're playing well. Clemson's defense, to me, wasn't very good. I wasn't impressed by them. And not that I'm impressed by LSU, but I think LSU has more offensive pop than Clemson does.
It's one of those things, though. Clemson shouldn't win, but they keep winning. I mean, I'm not a betting guy, but I'd have a hard time betting against them.
They clearly have a rabbit's foot in their back pocket.
There's something going on there.
Everything that could have went against Ohio State did. Even if you go down to the last possession Clemson had, where we punt the football and it hits one of their players, and the ball just stops.
Yeah.
It doesn't kick either direction. If it kicks any direction a yard, we have the football game's over.
Yeah.
So they are the luckiest team in college football.
You're right.
Yeah, they and the other thing was I thought back about this game is during the telecast, people were saying, boy, Clemson, give credit to their defense in the red zone because they've forced Ohio State to kick field goals. They didn't force anything. Ohio State shot themselves in the foot. They had the plays. They had the plays to score touchdowns. Right. They threw a pass to K.J. Hill, hits him in the face mask. Now, he was interfered with, but probably should have caught it. They throw a screen pass to J.K. Dobbins. It's wide open for a touchdown, and he drops it. The pass that he did catch but couldn't control to the ground would have been a touchdown. Ohio State stopped themselves more than Clemson stopped Ohio State.
Here's where you have to give Clemson a little credit, though. And I don't know if we could have run the ball in, but we did run the ball effectively down there. The first possession, we got inside the 5-yard line. I didn't like the play calls, but we couldn't run it historically like you like to do. We had to do gimmick plays. We had to do a screen down there. We had to throw a wheel route to a back, things that you normally don't see. So I will give them credit from a standpoint where we could not just line up and run the ball in. We had to do special things. But you're right. The plays were well called, well designed. We just didn't execute them.
Yeah. So title game, you're picking LSU? You say LSU?
Matt convinced me that LSU, even though I think Clemson will probably win. But Matt told me I should go with LSU.
Is it a 2-touchdown, a 3-touchdown, a 4-touchdown, a 1-touchdown?
I think it's a 2-touchdown game. Okay. It's in the Superdome, although that didn't help the Saints this weekend. But
and Joe Burrow sets records or no?
No.
No?
Oh, I think he has a really good game. I do.
Yeah, but it's not going to be like what he did against Oklahoma. Okay. That was ridiculous. Oklahoma didn't show up.
I'll tell you what.
Shame on Oklahoma.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. If either way, like, I don't know how you guys are. I can't even see the promos of the title game without getting, like, sick. Like,
I'm with you. I'm
clearly not over it.
Yeah.
But either way, it's going to hurt Ohio State. But if Clemson wins this thing, I think Ohio State fans are going to, and Ohio State players will be sick. Because they were, I'm telling you, if the Sean Wade play doesn't happen, Ohio State wins that game by double digits.
They do. It was the trifecta of things that could happen negatively for any football team. One, you're playing a really good opponent.
Yep.
2, you make your own mistakes and miscues. And then 3, the officials chime in. You can't overcome all 3. It's just, I don't care how great you are, you can't. 2 of the 3, they win that football game. But the fact that all 3 of those things showed up is the reason why we're watching.
I got you. Okay, we're going to turn the page to hoops. Stan Jackson played ball where they play it for real in New Jersey. We're going to get his take on the basketball Buckeyes coming up. Right now it's traffic and weather. So when you look at this basketball team, Matt and Stan, world beaters early on. I mean, they beat Villanova, they beat Kentucky. They beat North Carolina, and then the last 3 games, it's like blank, blank, blank. What's going on?
Well, they can't shoot the ball. They're shooting 33.9% from the floor over the last 3 games. And I want to be careful how I say this because I think Chris Holtmann is a great coach, Big Ten Coach of the Year his first year. He's phenomenal. Having said that, this is now 3 years, certainly 2 years, maybe not the first year, but certainly 2 years in a row where they've started out great. People get a read on what they are, and then they really struggle. Is that a fair criticism?
It could be. I think it's
like
a little
that people
early.
Now, it may be unfair because Kyle Young's out and, they've had injuries and stuff, but they just don't look the same, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, listen, I think it could be fair. I think it's too early to determine that because it's still early in the season. And from a standpoint of conference play, right? Still got a lot of games to play, a lot of good teams ahead. The Big Ten might be the best basketball conference in the country this year. I think we feel better about this without the Wisconsin loss. You think about the 3-game stretch that they went on. West Virginia is probably underrated. We had a layoff and had some really big games before that and played a competitive game against them. Then you go on the road against Maryland, who is a really good basketball team, by the way. They've got a lot of talent. They've got guys that can finish at the rim. They've got length. Yeah. But we did kill ourselves. If you go back, you watch the game, there were moments even in the second half. You can't miss layups. I'm yelling at my 6th grader or my 4th grader, my 7th grader, my freshman about layups, and I got guys at Ohio State missing wide-open layups.
Adam Jardy of the Dispatch tweeted last night that Ohio State on layups last night was 6 for 15.
That's the
on
game.
Layups.
That's crazy.
Now, granted, they're contested,
No.
they're not wide open.
They were not all contested.
But they weren't all contested.
The young man last night, late in the
DJ Carton,
he's got 2 point blank. I think we're down 6 at the time. That totally changed the game. It gives momentum to Ohio State maybe to have a chance. So I think they're still a good basketball team. You mentioned the glue guy and Young.
Yeah.
That matters, even though he's not a guy that fills the stats from a scoring standpoint. His effort, his hustle, his leadership, all that stuff matters.
He takes up some big space, too.
He does. Yeah. So you may be on to something, but I think it might be a little early. We got to let the season play out to see if that's true.
Yeah.
Can I ask conversely, Stan's become a Jacket fan here. Can you explain sports? They lose like 6 of their best players and are 2 games below 500. When they lose these guys, and in the middle of the streak, they lose Corpusalo in goal, and they use Oliver Bjorkstrand in the middle of the streak.
Right.
But for the most part, they lose their guys. They bring up young guys and also some veterans.
This is easy.
And all of a sudden, they're 10-1-4 in their last 15 games, and they're in playoff position.
This is easy. This is an easy answer for you. Those guys haven't earned one thing yet. They're trying to prove it. The other guys are comfortable. They got big houses. They got fat checks coming in every week, and they get comfortable. Now, you bring a bunch of young dudes in all at the same time. It's not just one-off, right? It's not a guy mixing in with.
No.
All these dudes are saying, you know what, this is our opportunity.
Let's go get it.
Let's go get it. And they're playing hungry.
Yeah.
There are no stars. They're all playing together, and they're all proving a point so they can have big houses and fat checks. Now, 3 years from now, they may be the same like the current Jackets, but this is just youth saying, it's my opportunity, and I'm going to go and prove it.
There's something to say about chemistry.
Absolutely.
They look like they're loose. They're just having fun.
What do they have to lose?
Yeah.
What do these guys have to lose?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Not a darn thing.
It's phenomenal.
It is.
Should the Browns hire Josh McDaniels, the Patriots offensive coordinator? That's what media reports say is the guy.
No, I haven't. Has one Patriot coach left and done well yet?
Well, Mike Vrabel, he wasn't a coach.
Though.
He played.
He was a player. He wasn't a coach. Yeah. Has one assistant coach left Belichick and done well?
Well, the Giants are hoping
because
they
hired. What is that?
Stan is a Giants fan. If he has a fandom, they hired the special teams coach for
so who should the Browns hire then?
If they're not hiring one of these really good college football coaches, crazy thing about Baylor's coach. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy should be their guy.
Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs
and has been there for a couple of years in that role.
Yeah.
And look at their offense.
And look at their offense.
Pretty good.
So if you look at Cleveland and the weapons they have,
bring it.
It's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Well, I think they're going McDaniels.
If you get a vote, you should put that in there, but I don't think you get a vote.
I don't.
All right. You want more? Everybody does. Make sure you're on board right before noon. It'll drop. Jackson and McCoy podcast. Watch for it at 610WTVN.com.